What are we gonna play today? Why don't we check out Wet?
This is Ruby. She's not big on forgiveness.
I've always been fascinated by Wet. I remember reading about it in Game Informer as a kid. Jeez, remember them? And that art style just hooked me in. Grindhouse was a very popular aesthetic for a short time in 2007 and 2008, thanks to films like, well, Grindhouse and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot. Now, one aspect about the game Wet that you'll notice as you play it is that it has a very rough around the edges style. It almost feels like a canceled game. And in a way, it is. In 2008, Activision Blizzard dropped it from their release schedule, and it was promptly picked up by Bethesda Software. The game starts off with our protagonist, Ruby, overlooking a drug deal.
Let's do this. Don't want to keep the old man waiting.
I was told Mr. Ackers was sending a woman.
I don't understand why this is a meeting that would be had in a glass atrium type area. I mean, if you're gonna do something like a deal like this, wouldn't you have it in like a more discreet area? I don't know, like a hallway or something? The deal goes sour and the one guy runs away with the case, so Ruby goes after him.
That piece of shit has no case.
Now that we can finally play the game, we go straight into the tutorial part, and honestly they did a pretty good job with it. Doesn't go on too long, but it lets you know the basics. Usually with tutorials, they either go on way too long and it's just boring, or they don't really tell you everything and then you're left kind of stranded later on in the game. I had to turn the film scratch effect off though, that was just hurting my eyes. I do like the gunplay. I feel like the split targeting thing can be a little inconsistent sometimes because I feel like I can aim right for the head and it's just like I'm firing blanks. But for the most part, I like it. The way you regenerate health in this game is by going over to these whiskey bottle stations and pressing triangle or Y if you're on Xbox and doing this little animation. It's interesting. The animation can get a little old when you do it like a million times throughout the game, but it's not really a big issue. Now, in almost every level, there's this big, wide open section where you have to kill all the bad guys and close down their gates while stepdad music plays in the background. Not an awful concept, however, they don't tell you that you need to use your sword to close the gates. You can't even use your pistol at all. You have to slice the gates closed with your sword. And they just don't tell you this at all, so I was wandering around like an idiot wondering what to do. Why do you have to slice it closed? The pistol does damage too. So after that, it's pretty much more of the same. More shooting, more traversal. Kind of a cool quick time event. I mean, it looks pretty cool. And to cap off this mission, there's one last open area where you have to kill all the enemies. I hope you like that, because you're going to be seeing a lot of that throughout this game. Now, Mission 2 is one big on-rails QuickTime event. You're hopping between cars, trying to chase after the dude with the briefcase. It sounds like a chore, but it's really not that bad, honestly. You see, this was during a time when people were under the false impression that QuickTime events were fun. I blame the recession. Really fucked with everyone's mind. We're all living off of 99-cent Taco Bell burritos and post-GWatt copium. Finally, you do catch up to the dude's car and take it out.
You fucking bitch, you're gonna leave me? You fucking bitch!
Mission 3 starts with Ruby arriving to the hospital to deliver the briefcase, and I like this shot with the doors here. That looks nice. Very Tarantino. So what was in the briefcase? A new heart for the buyer Trevor Ackers' father.
This heart will save your father's life, Mr. Ackers. He wouldn't survive the night without it.
Thank you, Mr. Exposition Doctor Man.
My father's enemies, my enemies, want him dead. It's because of you that he'll live.
Fast forward 1 year later. After the opening credits, we get straight into Ruby's Boneyard. Some kind of challenge, time trial kind of stage. Honestly, this is one of my least favorite parts of the game. It commits the mortal sin of being just not fun. It's too long. It took like 15 minutes to get through that whole thing. First you have the pistol training where you have to shoot the targets, and then you have the turret training, which, okay, I'll be honest, I actually kind of like the turret training. It was kind of fun to change it up a bit. And then you have the shotgun training, which, okay, you see where I'm going with this? So after all that, we're paid a visit by William Ackers, Trevor's father from earlier, as well as his henchman and woman Tarantula and Z Collector. William wants Ruby to go to Hong Kong to rescue his son Trevor because Trevor's fallen into trouble there and he needs help.
You saved my life. Now I need you to save his. And I'll make it undeniably worth your while.
So you go to Hong Kong and meet up with an old friend named Ming. Ming also has a roommate named Shi. He's a motherfucker. Keep this in mind for later.
Here's what I found out about this Ackers guy.
Basically, these Ackers guys are drug kingpins. Once William dies, Trevor inherits the business. Trevor has a lot of muscle, and he's trying to make moves in Hong Kong, so we need to find a guy named Rat Boy to really get more of a close word. I just wanted to say that I really like how fun Ming's apartment is. Like, this is just such a fun apartment. Like, can't you imagine just kicking back, having some beers in this apartment? Like, that'd be so fun! Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, you can also break these destructible boxes, and sometimes they have extra bonus points in them, or these collectible, toy symbol monkey type things. But basically you get the gist by now. Shoot enemies until you get to the big open wide part and then continue shooting enemies. I like how they didn't write any dialogue for this guy. They were just like, you know what, fuck it, make him yell. There are these sequences throughout the game where Ruby gets blood on her face and it triggers this red tinted rampage. Kind of reminds me of No More Heroes, but I honestly feel like it's just kind of pointless because there's nothing different other than just, you know, red tinted shooting. So finally we reach an area where the gameplay kind of gets shaken up a bit. In this open-ended area, there's a turret enemy that you have to shoot the explosive barrels to kill. Remember the layout of this area. This will come in handy later. So after some more platforming, we finally reach Rat Boy. And there's this kind of cage match kind of thing where we have to kill the enemies that come into the area. After that sequence, Rat Boy escapes, and we get to use the turret for a short turret segment. After that, we finally get to the Rat Boy boss battle.
I'm not sure.
Remember when I said to keep the layout of that location in mind? It's the same area. Like, I understand that it's the same building, and it's probably the same room we were in previously. They couldn't dress it up a little bit or do anything different. Just strikes me as a bit lazy. Another thing that irks me is that there's zero objective indicators. There's zero HUD elements that tell you if shooting Rat Boy is even doing anything, and there's no on-screen objectives or markers telling you what's going on. I spent a little bit roaming the area because I didn't know if I had to shoot a specific explosive barrel like the turret guy or just unload into him. Honestly, I feel like this boss battle is kind of representative with some of my problems with the game in the first place. What am I supposed to be doing? Where am I supposed to go? They're really just throwing you in the water and making you figure it out for yourself, which is okay, but it's also like it's a boss battle, so I would appreciate if there was at least a little thing on the screen, an icon, a prompt at the top, anything. I'm not asking for you to play the game for me, I'm just asking for some clear direction here. After blowing off Rat Boy's hand, you find out that Trevor is on his way to a parade.
On the docks near the parade route. He's meeting a local magistrate.
When?
You're too fucking late, bitch.
On to Mission 5, which takes place at the aforementioned parade. I do appreciate how the formula has been tweaked a little bit here, and the open-ended part with the gates is in the beginning instead of somewhere in the middle of the level. After that part, we run into Trevor Ackerman, who we end up chasing for most of the mission. I will say I quite enjoy the design and theme for this level. It's quite fun. At the end of the level, we finally catch up to Trevor.
Go home.
Fuck you, lady.
What? So he got knocked out by falling on the ground? Like, I don't understand that. Wait. Now he's awake? I thought he just got knocked out. I like the open-mouthed silent shout at the end. That's very, very natural. So at the start of mission 6, Ming drives you to the airport
Let's drive him to the airport.
so that you can take Trevor back to England.
This is for you and Z. Thanks for your help. Again.
Once in England, the handoff goes quite awry.
You really think it's gonna be this easy, yeah?
Yes, I do.
Twist is that this William Ackers is not William Ackers. It's actually a drug lord named Rupert Pelham.
Finish this.
Just you and me. This is better. Don't you see?
Now this whole sequence is a quick time event, unfortunately. And personally, I think that's kind of lame. I think there could have been, like, at least something off rails about this, but no, it's just the whole sequence is a quick time event.
We'll meet again someday. Auf Wiedersehen.
As you can see, Ruby gets stabbed, the guy escapes, and she passes out on the floor. After a loading screen, we wake up on the houseboat of Ruby's friend, Sean Devlin. I mean, Milo.
Milo?
I don't even understand how that Irish guy even found her. Like, was he just on his morning walk in a warehouse? Like, what? Does he live there? Like, what? Why are you at a warehouse? I mean, really, when was the last time you've been to a warehouse? I don't know, maybe this is just nitpicking, but it just feels like a huge plot hole. I mean, how did he find her? They just kind of like move past it, you know? Like, oh yeah, you've been out for a week, I patched you up. Oh, okay. No, it's not okay. So basically, Milo hooks you up with this lady who can get you more information, but she wants you to steal something for her.
Your reputation precedes you. I must admit I've done a little research. This, Ruby, is a 13th century treatise on the geographical architecture of London. This particular volume is the third of 3. I want this.
So now you're on a plane to steal that third book, and let me tell you, this sequence is frustrating. Oh my god, this got on my nerves way more than it ever should. For some reason, the hitbox for what you're trying to dodge when you're in the air is just way too big. Like, it's horrible. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, God! Alright, right through the gap. Oh, yeah, I got this. I mean, look at that. Wait. No! Okay, bank it to the left. Bank it to the left. Oh, come on! My arm barely touched it! So after all that crap is done, you finally float over to a parachute.
Here's your fucking book.
Yeah, after all that crap, I kind of sympathize with Ruby here. But no, we have to go back to the boneyard to do one more weapon challenge since we unlocked the new submachine guns. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to nitpick. It's just we get it, okay? We get it by now. We did the pistol challenges, we did the shotgun challenges. This is not necessary. It's really not necessary. So after all that, we make our way to Ackers' estate in England. And I must say, I just missed those water levels. Every game had a water level back in the day. I missed that. What happened to the water levels? I love the beaches, I love the water levels. Give us more of that. So the first part of this level has you navigating these mines, which is kind of a pain in the ass. I mean, it's not difficult, it's just kind of a pain in the ass. Especially when a jump fails to register. Or even worse, a ledge grab fails to register. Minor spoiler, but I'm glad they don't make you do ledge traversal for a lot of this game because it is truly horrible. It is stiff. It doesn't really recognize that well. It could have used some more time in the oven. So after you get past that part and you dodge barrels on this ladder, you finally get to these, like, caverns, I guess? I don't know, what is that, cellar? Cavern? I don't know. There's a thing with the doors, and going back to this game's issue with not really telling you anything, they don't really tell you that you're supposed to shoot these doors in the slow-mo while you're sliding and, like, slide through them, kind of. Like, it's kind of confusing. Like, if there is some kind of thing like, oh yeah, that's what you're supposed to do, I wouldn't mind. That's fine. But, like, to not even, like, tell me? Like, not even, like, a little hint? Like, nothing? Like, it just seems counterintuitive. So anyway, you're making your way through the cellars, killing bad guys, doing everything. It took me a long time to make this jump for some reason. I don't understand, but finally you get to the first gates part of the level. Eventually, you have to make your way out of the cavern because there's this fire that's spreading, so you jump on the ladder and whatnot. Part 2 of this level starts you on a ledge, and you kind of have to traverse around the courtyard and staple shape. Then there's this library shootout, and then the final cutscene for the level, which is a confrontation with the real actors.
What else of value can you take from me that you already haven't? You can't do it, can you? Eh? I can!
So after one more open-ended segment, it's back to Hong Kong for Mission 8 to find Rupert Pelham.
Hey, Z.
Remember this part, this comes in handy later. So basically, Pelham created this group called Tiger's Claw to help him distribute this drug around the world, headed by Christopher Sorrell and June Lee. Mission 8 is centered around going to the dockyard and finding June Lee to help narrow down the search. Also, that motherfucker G is an informant, and he sold out Ming and Ruby, leading to Ming being attacked. I don't know how I just noticed that this door had a big circular window on there. Like, isn't that a privacy concern? What kind of SpongeBob-ass door even is that? Mission 8 starts you at the docks, in this elevator shaft type area. It's kind of scary. So after you crash Bandicoot your way through an exploding hallway, you end up in this open area, which I don't even know how to put. What is this, like the port of the port? Like, what is this? It's just like two buildings next to each other. I don't really get what it is, but afterwards is a turret section. Haven't seen one of those in a while. After some more platforming, you end up in this ice meatpacking type area, and of course another open section. Can't have enough of those open sections. The crescendo of this mission is a showdown at the docks and confronting the antagonist June Lee.
He's heading to the Old Royal Opera House.
After Mission 8, you unlock the crossbow, and yeah, you already know what's about to happen. After that, you arrive at the Opera House, where Pelham is there for some kind of meeting, I suppose. It's around here where the fatigue of the gameplay loop started to set in. I mean, this is a fun game, don't get me wrong. It's just, by this time, I was like, okay, I get it. I shoot enemies, you do the open thing, okay, I get it, you know, like, I get it. I will say, I really like the design of the Opera House. I think the environmental artists did a phenomenal job designing this Opera House. It's a funner level to play, at least it's not, you know, another street level, but the next section is almost like a half boss battle, half open-ended section type of thing. I at least appreciate that twist on the formula. This vocalist lady tries to shoot you with a minigun, and you have to take her down. After more traversal in another open-ended section, you reach a cutscene where G is in trouble. They took him hostage. Or did they?
Too late.
Hello, Ruby.
Shit!
Fascinates me.
I'm sorry, Ruby. I'm so sorry.
Never underestimate the power of feeling good.
Alright, home stretch, just 2 more missions. So mission 10 starts out with Sorrel torturing us.
You've come to the wrong house asking for sugar, darling. Now, my cupcake. I'm gonna find out why.
I'm sorry, I can't take this guy seriously. He looks too much like Bling Bling Boy from Johnny Test. So after you break free from the restraints and take out the torturer, you face a room full of bad guys, which, quite honestly, I don't really understand how they knew you broke free. I mean, you had the time to put on your clothes and get all your equipment on, so if they were outside of the room listening, wouldn't they have, like, ambushed Ruby when she was putting her clothes on or getting her equipment ready? Like, I don't really understand that. Like, it just seems kind of, like, arbitrary. So next we have this open-ended segment that's also like a red tinted kind of segment, so it's kind of like 2 in 1. And after a quick turret segment, Sorrel escapes and you go right after him. Yeah, that was a pretty quick level. Mission 11 is another highway segment, you know, with the quick time events and the shooting and all that, so we can pretty much get right to the end here. Sorrel escapes, but Ruby is able to get some information out of a henchman that Sorrel is on his way to London.
London! London! They're going to London!
Mission 12 starts off with finding Ming in his apartment, injured.
Ruby, they have G.
Ming.
I'm kind of confused at the timeline in which all of this is happening. I mean, how long was he stumbling around injured? It couldn't have been that long, but it's like she was kidnapped and then she made her way across, and then, I mean, it was like 30 in real life minutes to get from that level to this one. So it's like, what was he stumbling around for 30 minutes? Was this in the universe? Was he, like, you know, injured like 15 minutes ago? Like, the timeline doesn't really match up here, because if you're losing that amount of blood, you're going to bleed out pretty quickly. I don't know, maybe it's just a nitpick, but that timeline discrepancy just doesn't really make any sense to me. So Ming dies, rest in peace Ming, you were a real one, and Ruby goes straight to England looking for revenge.
Tell me where I can find Pelham, and I'll do the rest.
You realize you attack one, you attack all.
Oh, I'm counting on it.
Of course you are.
So Mission 12 really starts at a cannery, where Sorrel and Tiger Claw has set up production. I really like the atmosphere of this level. It felt really nice to be in a level that didn't feel like a mishmash of reused assets. So after taking out a turret guy and a turret section of your own, as well as some more traversal around the map, it's on to the open-ended section with these elite type people. They're pretty annoying to face, honestly. They're just bullet sponges. Like, the key is to aim for the head when you shoot at them, but the issue is, like I said earlier in the video, a lot of times when you aim for the head, it just feels like you're shooting blanks. So it's like, it just makes it more difficult. So after this red tinted part and fighting our way through the factory, we finally catch up to Sorrel, who we have to chase down in this flaming inferno kind of area. This part can actually get a little annoying because it looks like it's on rails, but it's not. This is all just fancy camera angles and button prompts that show up on the screen. So when it tells you to jump, it's not always going to land properly, if that makes sense. Like, it just doesn't connect. Sometimes it can get a little annoying if you're not on the right, like, tempo. So finally we catch up to Sorrel and we get the lowdown on Pelham.
I'm fucking pissed, and I want answers. Where is Pelham?
Moving in on Ackers tonight. That's all I know. I swear to you, that's all I know.
You're a sad, sad little man. You know that? And I should pity you.
Yes, please. Pity.
I should.
Huh?
But I won't.
No!
Okay, so this is the last mission. I don't really consider it a full actual mission. You'll see why in a minute, but the scene is set at Acker's mansion.
She's here.
Damn it. Like a turd in a punch bowl, Ruby. You have to ruin everything that's nice and good and sweet. Take her now, but make it slow. I want her to feel everything that's happening to her.
Okay, so first a boss battle against Tarantula, and it's a quick time event. Okay, maybe this is just like the appetizer, right? To gear us up for the final boss battle. Maybe, you know, just to get Tarantula out of the way. It's just an easy quick time event, just let's get it out of the way. It's more of a story thing. I can dig that. So after you take out Tarantula, you go right back inside to take out Pelham.
Bummer. Sucks for you.
No. Don't tell me.
Here. Take it. Fuck you.
No. Fuck you.
The final boss battle is a quick time event. Why? Who asked for this? Who wanted it to be a quick time event? Who said, oh yeah, you know what we need in this game? More quick time events. We didn't have enough of that bullshit highway segment. Let's make the fucking end an entirely a quick time event. Like, where is the payoff? Like, I understand where they're coming from, because it's like, what are you going to do with Pelham? You know, I mean, Pelham's an old man. Tarantula, I could understand being like Rat Boy, where it's like a bullet sponge you shoot a ton of times. But Pelham's an old man. What are you going to do? So I understand that. But there had to be a better solution than making the entire level a QuickTime event.
Know this. We are not enemies. But we are not friends.
Yeah, got it.
There's a tease for a non-existent sequel that suggests that Tarantula may still be alive, and end credits. So that was Wet. After all is said and done, I enjoyed it. In a way, Wet is a game that almost escapes description. Is it phenomenal? No. Is it a bad game? Absolutely not. And perhaps that's Wet's biggest flaw, that it's just okay. The most discussable part about this game is its unique aesthetic and grindhouse art style. The Max Payne style gameplay is alright, but it's done better by other games. The boss fights feel pointless, and the satisfaction of the ending is absolutely ruined by making the entire level a QuickTime event. I think if you're a fan of the action genre, and you like playing action games, you'll definitely have a lot of fun. Just don't expect a masterpiece. Chicken parm sandwich.